The cloud offers efficiencies that, frankly, fixed data centers don't give us today, right? And so as we were moving our data centers over the last couple of years, we decided to move those data centers to more cost-effective areas of the country, but at the same time, let's start integrating into those data centers an architecture that would employ, in our case, a private cloud, but also give us experience in dealing with a public cloud and yet at the same time offer enhanced security for our data. There are certain aspects of our business processes that can be serviced through a cloud type structure, architecture, and then there's certain, both private and public, and then there are certain aspects that traditional data centers, frankly, represent the best choice for us. But I think what Charles has been helping us do is realize what that balance should look like.
I think what we've tried to do is take very much the hybrid approach. Certainly today there are cloud offerings, especially in enterprise apps arenas, where we can take advantage. In fact, we sit here today with our CRM on-demand solution going live today. So the whole idea, though, of a single CRM solution delivered through a cloud capability where people don't have to be on our networks in order to sort of log their activities is just very powerful for us. And it was one of those areas where we thought this makes sense from a security perspective, from a risk perspective, quite frankly, from a business continuity perspective. We believe that that was a place where it made sense. But as Walt said, there are some enterprise services that from a business perspective doesn't make sense. And quite frankly, there are some that we use today that can't take advantage of virtualization technology. So they're not even offered in the cloud. And quite frankly, it would put so much anxiety, inject so much ajna into the organization to make such a shift that whatever short-term financial benefit you thought you were going to get, you're going to lose because you lose the hearts and minds of all the end users. So we're trying to be very careful with how we navigate those waters. But over the last several years, we've pushed 10 to 20 services outside of the company that were historically done within the four walls of the company. Now they're on cloud offerings or managed offerings outside, off-prem. And now you're beginning to see us move to enterprise private cloud offerings. You're seeing us take internal hosting centers and collapse them down into cloud blocks, which are very much self-serve based. So the tenants, the NIST tenants around cloud is exactly what we're going for. All the tenants of NIST as they relate to cloud, that's what we're going for, even in our hybrid offering.
My initial thoughts when the cloud concept came up for SAIC were pretty simple. How come we aren't there yet? And oh, by the way, if we're doing it one part of the enterprise, i.e. making an offering, why haven't we leveraged that offering broadly across the enterprise? And if we're going to take cybersecurity seriously, why aren't we advancing not just the concept of cloud, but the secure cloud? So there was no hesitancy on my part. It was, I think, Charles and several of his colleagues discussed before our executive committee and simply said, here's some things we're considering. And oh, by the way, here's some things we're already doing for our clients.
So I think historically there's certainly been a concern from a security perspective. But the flip side of that is as Walt mentioned, we're a company that likes to take on the tough problems and solve them. So our challenge was, if that's the tough problem, let's solve it. Let's stop talking about it being the barrier to taking advantage of this inflection of technology, the likes which we probably haven't seen since the mainframe to client server computing kind of model took shape. In that context, it flipped the discussion. It flipped the discussion from one of being we can't do it because of to, gee gosh, if that's the challenge, how do we rise to the challenge and begin to address it? And so that became the mission. And so now all of a sudden we've got the enterprise assets lockstep working with us to say, okay, let's go solve that problem. And it's not going to happen overnight. And I think anybody who suggests to you that there's a one-size-fits-all for this is mistaken.